Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in life when you realize that not everyone is rooting for you, not everyone wants to see you win. And some people, they want to control the way you are seen, the way you are perceived, and the way your story is told. They will twist your words, manipulate your intentions, and try to paint a picture of you that serves their agenda. But here's the truth. You are the only one who owns your story, no one else. And the moment you understand this, the moment you take back control, is the moment you step into real power. Your story is yours. No one else has lived your experiences, felt your pain, or walked your path. Yet there will always be people who try to tell your story for you. They will twist your words, question your intentions, and reshape the narrative to fit their own perspectives. Some will do it out of ignorance, some out of jealousy, and some simply because controlling the way others see you gives them a sense of power. But the truth is, no one has the right to define you except you. The moment you allow someone else to dictate your narrative, you give away control over your own life. People will always have opinions, they will always talk, and the louder you become in defending yourself, the more ammunition you give them to manipulate your story. The mistake most people make is thinking they need to explain themselves, that they need to correct every misunderstanding, that they need to make sure others see them in the right light. But the reality is, you will never be able to control how everyone perceives you. No matter what you say, no matter how many times you try to set the record straight, there will always be those who refuse to see the truth. You don't owe explanations to people who have already decided who you are. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth. The moment you stop seeking validation, the moment you stop reacting to every false narrative, you take back control. The most powerful people in the world don't waste their time proving themselves to others. They know that their actions, their results, and their character will speak louder than any explanation ever could. They don't get caught up in debates, they don't engage in arguments that lead nowhere, and they certainly don't allow outside voices to dictate their identity. When you understand that your story belongs to you, you also realize that you are the one who decides what gets shared, what gets ignored, and what gets left behind. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every rumor needs to be addressed. When you stop giving energy to people who want to control your narrative, you reclaim the power that was always yours. It's not about staying silent out of fear. It's about recognizing that your truth does not require constant explanation. The people who truly matter will see you for who you are, not for who others claim you to be. There will be times when you are misunderstood. There will be moments when people spread falsehoods about you, and your first instinct may be to correct them, to make them see the truth, to defend yourself against their words. But that is exactly what they want. They want to pull you into their web, to keep you engaged in a cycle of reaction, to make you feel the need to justify yourself. And the more you engage, the more you lose sight of what really matters. Your energy is better spent building, growing, evolving, and proving yourself through action, not words. When you own your story, you no longer feel the need to explain every move you make. You stop chasing approval. You stop looking over your shoulder, wondering what others are saying. You focus on what you are creating, what you are becoming, and what truly matters in your life. That is where your real power lies. Because at the end of the day, the people who truly respect you don't need an explanation, and the people who don't respect you won't believe one anyway. Your story is yours to write, yours to live, and yours to own. Silence is often misunderstood. People associate it with weakness, with submission, with a lack of confidence. But real silence, intentional silence, is one of the most powerful strategies you can use. It is not about running away from confrontation or being afraid to speak. It is about choosing when and how to engage, about recognizing that not every situation deserves your energy, and about understanding that sometimes the strongest statement you can make is saying nothing at all. When you are silent, you take control. You remove the ability for others to twist your words, to misinterpret your meaning, to use what you say against you. The moment you react emotionally, the moment you engage in arguments that lead nowhere, you give people something to work with. But when you remain silent, when you refuse to let them pull you into their drama, they are left with nothing. They are forced to sit with their own assumptions, their own insecurities, their own doubts. And that is more powerful than any argument you could ever have. Silence is not just about withholding words, it is about directing your energy toward what truly matters. When you stop responding to every criticism, every false accusation, every attempt to drag you down, you free yourself to focus on your growth, your goals, your success. You no longer waste time trying to prove yourself to people who have no intention of understanding you. You no longer feel the need to defend every decision, to explain every action, to constantly justify who you are. Instead, you channel that energy into becoming better, into building something real, into letting your results speak louder than anything you could say. People who lack control over themselves feel the need to constantly speak, to constantly argue, to constantly react. They believe that by talking more, they are proving their intelligence, their strength, their worth. But in reality, true power comes from restraint. It comes from knowing when to stay quiet, when to observe, when to let others expose themselves through their own words and actions. It comes from the ability to remain unshaken in the face of provocation, to maintain control even when others are trying to pull you into chaos. When you master silence, you command respect. You show that you are not easily influenced, that you are not desperate for validation, that you do not need to be seen or heard to be significant. The strongest people in the world do not waste their time arguing with those who do not matter. They do not explain themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They do not give away their energy to every person who demands their attention. Instead, they observe, they strategize, they move with intention, and when they do speak, their words carry weight because they have not been diluted by unnecessary chatter. Silence also gives you the upper hand in any situation. When you refuse to react, you make others uncertain, you disrupt their expectations. They don't know what you are thinking, what you are planning, what your next move will be. And that uncertainty gives you power. It keeps you in control while they waste their energy trying to figure you out. It forces them to question themselves, to reconsider their approach, to realize that they do not have control over you. Most importantly, silence is about self-respect. It is about valuing your peace over pointless battles, about protecting your energy from those who do not deserve it, about recognizing that you do not need to prove yourself to anyone. When you learn to embrace silence, to use it as a tool rather than fear it as a weakness, you become untouchable. You become someone who cannot be manipulated, who cannot be provoked, who cannot be controlled. You become someone who moves with purpose, who speaks with intention, who lives on their own terms. Reaction is control. The moment you react, you hand over your power to the other person. You let them dictate your emotions, your energy, your state of mind. They provoke and you respond. They push and you push back. And in that cycle, they are the ones pulling the strings. They know exactly how to get under your skin, how to trigger a response, how to make you engage on their terms. But the truth is, you don't have to participate in their game. You don't have to allow them to control you through your reactions. People who lack power seek it through manipulation. They throw out words, accusations, and judgments, hoping that you will take the bait. They want to see you flustered, defensive, trying to explain yourself. Because the moment you react, they have won. They have disrupted your focus. They have taken you away from your path and pulled you into their chaos. And once you're in, it's hard to get out. You find yourself justifying, arguing, proving, and before you know it, you're drained, distracted, and no closer to your goals. When you refuse to react, you take back control. You show them that they do not have the power to dictate your emotions, your energy, or your actions. You show them that you are not easily moved, that you do not operate on their terms, that you are in charge of yourself. That kind of self-control is rare. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to question themselves, to rethink their strategies, to realize that they do not have the influence over you that they thought they did. It's not always easy. The natural instinct is to respond, to correct, to defend, but every time you engage in a meaningless battle, you waste energy that could be used for something greater. Instead of reacting, redirect that energy. Instead of explaining, take action. Instead of arguing, move forward. Let your silence be a statement. Let your results be the response. Let your success speak for itself. Because at the end of the day, words mean nothing if they are not backed by action. When you stop reacting, you force the other person to sit with their own words, their own assumptions, their own insecurities. They no longer have you to bounce off of, to fight against, to pull into their negativity. And that leaves them powerless. It leaves them confused, frustrated, and lost in their own emotions. They expected a fight. They expected engagement. But when you give them nothing, they are left with only themselves. Reaction is also a habit. The more you react, the more you condition yourself to be controlled by external forces. You become someone who is easily provoked, easily swayed, easily thrown off balance. But when you break that habit, when you learn to pause, to observe, to choose your response carefully, you become untouchable. You become someone who is in control of their emotions, their mindset, their direction. And that is a level of power that few people ever reach. You have to ask yourself, who is really in control of your life? Are you moving based on your own vision, your own goals, your own sense of purpose? Or are you constantly shifting based on the actions and opinions of others? Because if you are always reacting, you are not leading, you are not in charge, you are not living on your own terms. And the moment you recognize that, the moment you decide to reclaim that control, everything changes. You no longer feel the need to respond to every comment, every criticism, every attempt to pull you off course. You rise above it. You move differently. You operate from a place of strength, not weakness. And that is when you truly become unstoppable. Let your actions speak louder than words. In a world where everyone is quick to talk, quick to explain, quick to justify, the real power lies in execution. Too many people waste time trying to convince others of their worth, trying to make people believe in them, trying to argue their way into respect. But respect isn't given because of words. It's earned through action. You don't have to tell people who you are when your results show them. You don't have to prove your value when your work speaks for itself. People who constantly talk about what they're going to do, who they're going to become, how successful they will be, often never get there, because they are too caught up in explaining instead of executing. They are seeking validation before they've even done the work. They are more interested in being recognized than actually achieving something worthy of recognition. And in doing so, they drain themselves before the real work even begins. The strongest, most successful people in the world don't waste time talking about what they're going to do, they do it. They don't engage in unnecessary debates. They let their progress do the talking. They move in silence, focused, determined, relentless in their pursuit of excellence. Every second spent trying to convince someone of your potential is a second wasted. Every moment spent arguing about your worth is a distraction from proving it. Every explanation given to those who doubt you is energy that could have been spent on your next step forward. People may doubt you. They may question you. They may spread their own version of your story, but at the end of the day, none of that matters when your actions are undeniable. The truth is, people remember results. They remember the person who stayed committed, who kept pushing forward, who delivered on their promises without ever needing to boast about it. They don't remember the person who argued, who over-explained, who spent more time talking than doing. Because talk is cheap, it's easy. But real success, real achievement, real transformation, that takes work. And work requires focus. It requires discipline. It requires the ability to tune out the noise and channel all your energy into creating something meaningful. Think about the most influential figures in any industry. They didn't rise to success by constantly explaining themselves to doubters. They didn't spend time trying to convince people to believe in them. They simply did the work. They built, they created, they executed, and eventually the results spoke for them. The same principle applies to your life. Whether it's your career, your personal goals, your relationships, stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it. Stop trying to prove yourself to people who will never truly see your value and focus on proving it to yourself. When you shift your mindset from explanation to execution, everything changes. You no longer feel the need to respond to negativity. You no longer waste time defending yourself. You step into a place of quiet confidence, knowing that the only validation you need is the success you create for yourself. You no longer have to chase recognition because your achievements will demand it. You no longer have to engage in meaningless conversations because your actions will make the statement for you. The less you explain, the more people watch. The less you argue, the more people wonder. The less you seek validation, the more powerful you become. Because true power is not found in words. It's found in movement. It's found in discipline. It's found in the ability to remain focused while others are distracted by noise. When you commit to letting your actions speak louder than your words, you step into a level of influence that cannot be ignored. You become someone who is not just heard, but truly seen. Someone whose presence is felt, not because of what they say, but because of what they do. Not every battle is worth fighting. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that they have to respond to everything. that they have to correct every misconception, that they have to fight back every time they are challenged. But the truth is, not every fight deserves your time, your energy, or your attention. There are people who will try to provoke you just to get a reaction. There are situations designed to pull you off track, to distract you, to drain you emotionally and mentally. And if you engage with every single one of them, you will find yourself exhausted, frustrated, and further away from your real goals. The strongest people understand that their energy is their greatest asset. They don't waste it on meaningless arguments, on proving themselves to people who have already made up their minds, on trying to convince those who will never truly see their worth. They know that every battle fought comes at a cost. Every time you engage in an unnecessary fight, you take time away from your growth, your work, your progress. You give away your peace, your focus, your mental clarity, and for what? To win an argument, to prove a point, to get someone to change their opinion? None of those things will move you forward in life. The people who truly succeed, who truly build something meaningful, don't let themselves get pulled into every conflict that comes their way. They choose their battles wisely. They know that silence is often the most powerful response, that walking away from negativity is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. They understand that their time is valuable, and they refuse to waste it on things that do not contribute to their future. That doesn't mean they back down when it truly matters. It means they are strategic. They know when to stand their ground and when to let things go. When you refuse to engage in unnecessary battles, you take back control. You stop letting other people dictate your emotions. You stop reacting to every criticism, every insult, every attempt to provoke you. Instead, you stay focused on what really matters. You put your energy into building something real, into becoming better, into reaching your highest potential. And in doing so, you automatically separate yourself from those who are stuck in the cycle of endless arguments, negativity, and distractions. It takes discipline to walk away. It takes strength to remain silent when you know you could win the argument. It takes confidence to realize that your worth is not determined by whether or not you defend yourself against every critic. But when you learn to do this, you become unstoppable. You no longer waste time explaining yourself to people who don't deserve an explanation. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to those who will never acknowledge your value. You become someone who moves with purpose, someone who is too focused on their goals to be sidetracked by meaningless conflicts. Every time you feel the urge to engage in a battle, ask yourself, does this truly matter? Will winning this argument improve my life? Will proving my point bring me closer to my goals? Most of the time, the answer will be no. And when you recognize that, you give yourself the freedom to walk away without feeling the need to explain, defend, or justify yourself. You step into a place of power where your energy is protected, where your focus is sharp, where your mind is clear. The world is full of distractions, full of noise, full of people who want to pull you into their negativity. But you don't have to participate. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to respond to every challenge. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. The more you learn to let go, the stronger you become. The less you react, the more control you gain. The more you focus on what truly matters, the faster you rise above the people and situations that were never meant to be part of your journey in the first place. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates power. When people don't know what you're thinking, when they can't predict your next move, when they are left wondering about your intentions, you gain an undeniable advantage. The moment you reveal everything, your plans, your thoughts, your emotions, you give away your power. You allow others to analyze, criticize, and even sabotage what you are working toward. But when you remain silent, when you hold back, when you choose to share only what is necessary, you force people to guess, to speculate, to be unsure. And that uncertainty puts you in control. Most people feel the need to explain themselves, to be understood, to be accepted. They share their dreams with anyone who will listen. They reveal their strategies before they are fully formed. They speak without realizing the impact their words will have. And in doing so, they give others the ability to interfere, to question, to plant seeds of doubt. They expose themselves to unnecessary negativity, to criticism, to opinions that do nothing but slow them down. But the strongest, most successful individuals understand that not everything needs to be shared. They know that there is power in keeping people guessing, in moving quietly, in letting results speak instead of words. When you become comfortable with silence, you become unpredictable. People don't know what you are thinking, and that makes them uneasy. They can't anticipate your next move, so they don't know how to counter it. They can't manipulate you with their words because you don't give them enough information to use against you. You become someone who operates on your own terms, someone who doesn't need validation, someone who moves with purpose instead of seeking approval. That level of control is rare, and it commands respect. Silence also gives you the time and space to observe. When you are quiet, you see things that others miss. You notice patterns, you recognize opportunities, you understand people in a way that those who are constantly talking never will. You learn to read body language, to hear what is not being said, to sense when someone's intentions do not match their words. And with that awareness, you gain an edge. You know who to trust, who to avoid, who to align with, and who to distance yourself from. People who cannot control their words cannot control their emotions. They react without thinking. They reveal their weaknesses without realizing it. They give away their plans before they are ready to execute them. But those who master silence remain steady. They are not easily provoked. They are not quick to defend themselves. They do not allow others to pull them into unnecessary conflicts. They understand that silence is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom, of strategy, of self-mastery. Think about the most powerful individuals in history. They were not the ones who spoke the loudest or the most frequently. They were the ones who moved in silence, who let their actions do the talking, who revealed only what was necessary at the right time. They understood that power is not about being seen or heard constantly. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to act and when to wait, when to reveal and when... You don't have to announce your every move. You don't have to explain your decisions. You don't have to let people into every detail of your journey. The less you say, the more control you have. The less you reveal, the stronger your position. The less you explain, the more people wonder. And in that wonder, in that uncertainty, lies your greatest power. Because when they don't know what you're thinking, when they can't predict what you're going to do next, you become someone they have no choice but to respect, to watch, to take seriously. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. It is the power to control your narrative, to protect your energy, to move with purpose instead of reacting to distractions. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop engaging in battles that don't serve you, when you let your actions speak louder than words, you shift into a position of true power. You no longer waste time trying to convince those who will never understand, nor do you allow others to dictate your emotions, your decisions, or your future. Instead, you rise above, focused and unwavering, building the life you envision without the need for validation. The world is filled with noise, with opinions, with people who seek to pull you into their chaos, but you do not have to participate. You do not have to fight every battle. You do not have to explain your worth. When you embrace silence, when you learn to hold your power within, you become someone who cannot be controlled, cannot be swayed, cannot be easily read. And that is where true strength lies. So choose your words carefully, choose your battles wisely, choose your silence strategically. Because when you master the ability to remain still when others expect you to react, to observe when others expect you to speak, to move when others expect you to stop, you become unstoppable.